Alrighty, this looks like a great place to camp. Yes, this is perfect. I can back up if I need to. Ooh, target already? Hello, Sheridan. Wait, what? What? That's not a Sheridan. That's a big light Panzer? But this is not arcade. Oh, excuse me. Oh. It's mixed battles. When it's mixed battles, weird stuff happens. Ay. That was crazy shot. So crazy I need to take a break. Hey. I'll be back. Before we begin this video, I'd like to make a brief PSA. Due to complications IRL and being busy IRL, today's video by Sauber will be narrated by Sauber. Enjoy! Howdy folks, Sauber here. Welcome back to the channel. I'm sorry, that little PSA there was a bit hilarious. But seriously, oh my god! Everything has been happening. The sky is falling, practically. I mean, for one thing, I have been busy since the patch dropped, so I haven't been able to release as much content as I like. Sorry about that. And another thing, and ooh, hey, you, get out of here. A lot of things have been happening in War Thunder. For number one is that, well, not for number one. For one thing, 1.79 dropped out of nowhere on a Tuesday. Since when is something released on a Tuesday? I'm just kidding. No, I mean, it was released on Tuesday, but that's besides the point. And then, mixed battles. If you don't know what that is, look back at the beginning of the video, because you clearly missed it if you don't know what that is. But, no pun intended, you probably missed it. I can't blame you. But seriously, mixed battles Imagine this scenario. Imagine you decide to go out to play with your Leopard 2A4 in realistic battles. You look at your team tab and you think, whoops, did I pick arcade? No, comrade, you chose realistic battles. And because of the long queue times, because everybody either wants to play the Leopard 2A4 or the spammy XM1, you get this on your team. The Americans and the Germans and the Russians, the Japanese and the French. And your opponents? The Americans, the Germans, the Russians, and the British. Now you're probably wondering, Sauber, why on earth are they mixed battles? What's the point of them? Well, if you've been a Jet player for a while, you probably know what it was for. For those of you who don't, let me explain to you the origins of mixed battles. Back in 2015, people were complaining about long queue times for Jets because we didn't have a good variety of Jets at top tier like we do now. And when I say top tier, I mean both 8.0 and 9.0. Because there's a stopgap, because 8.0 can meet 7.0 and 9.0. Without 8.0, it's kind of boring. 8.0 kind of fills the gap. I mean, some 8.0 Jets are really good, like the G91, which, frankly, I'm glad it's 8.0 because it performs well at 7.0, 8.0, and 9.0. It's like a sweet spot for that little jet. Because it's not the fastest jet in terms of acceleration, but it has a good top speed, and it turns super good. But anyway, I'm not going to focus on the G91 right now. That's actually for a future video. Anyway, so the War Thunder developer team was like, how can we decrease the queue times for jets? And somebody came up with the idea, what about mixed battles? And I can almost guarantee you someone upstairs was like, what on earth is mixed battles? And they basically came up with the concept where you could have, like I mentioned earlier, abbreviated down a little, Americans and Germans and Russians against Americans, Germans, and Russians. Funny thing is, for planes, I didn't really mind that. And let me tell you why. Because the CL-13 Germany has the CL-13 Mark V Sabre, which, for obvious reasons, Germany cannot pair with Russia and the United States at the same time in a non-mixed battle, i.e., have the CL-13 play on the American team and the GDR MiG-15 on the Russian team. That's just, I guess, not possible for the matchmaker to distinguish that, especially if you're in a squad. It just wouldn't work. So the compromise was that the CL-13 ended up on the Russian teams. So essentially, if you played as your F-86 Sabre, you could fight against the CL-13. So I didn't mind the mixed battles because I was already used to fighting other Sabres in my CL-13 Sabre. Then, after a while that stopped. I can't remember when that officially came to an end because the last time I recall playing a mixed battle for jets was in like 2016, maybe 2017. Quite a while ago. But then you fast forward to 2018 with 1.79 Project X, and you have an influx of players playing the Leopard 2A4, almost more than the XM1. Of course, I'm exaggerating here, but I wouldn't be surprised if my video, as well as some other videos, influenced players to get the Leopard 2A4 instead of the XM1. Because the reason I say the Leopard 2A4 over the XM1, not just because of the amount I've seen in game, like a few of the mixed battles, I've seen more Leopard 2A4s than XM1s. Not necessarily because the XM1 costs $50, or it did at the time before released, but now it's $60. But the Leopard 2A4 is the new top dog for the German line. I mean, we had the Leopard 2K, which was already good, but the Leopard 2A4 is the first production model Leopard 2 we have in War Thunder at the moment. I exclude the Leopard 2A5 because that was just an April Fool's tank. April Fool's Day or April Test tank. Anyhow, the XM1 is essentially, well, it's obviously a prototype to the M1 Abrams, but I guess a lot of us, including myself, were expecting the M1E1 or M1A1. But I'm not going to focus on that too much because I guess either the model wasn't ready yet or because the T80 wasn't added either. And if you recall in that developer stream I talked about a while back, they talked about the T80 model being ready. And I'm not going to speculate if it was the original T80, T80B, T80BV, or T80U. And yeah, you're seeing, to deviate a little, feels bad, man. I got set on fire twice by that MBT-70, and then a third time by that Banshee. Feels bad, man. But I got to play on my CL-13, which is what you see here, my favorite Yoichi Air Force camouflage. But going back to the XM1, apart from it being a pricey vehicle, being $50 before the patch, and then changed to $60 after the patch. I hate to say it, but it is quite cannon fodder at 9.0. I mean, in my personal experience, I haven't really gone up against student players in the XM1. And when I say student players, I mean players that are like below level 15. That like, or level 20 even. Because the lowest I saw was like level 21. Which may or may not be a less experienced player, because some players can learn quickly, others learn a little later, and some never really master the game, sadly. Because War Thunder is the kind of game where you gotta master a number of skills. I have to admit that it took me at least 3 to 6 months to master planes when I started playing War Thunder in 2013. I mean, I enjoyed War Thunder, but I didn't really become a pro until late in 2013, close to the summer and fall. Anyhow, likewise, the XM1, as you know, is a prototype to the M1 Abrams, and it's obviously not as well protected as the Abrams. Its armor, its protection is like less than 300 millimeters. I don't know for the hull anyhow, I forget what the turret is, but it's a lightly armored vehicle for 9.0. I mean, we do have the MBT-70, but I don't know. The MBT-70 for a while was a really good tank, and it still is if played right, but in terms of armor protection, you gotta master its flanking abilities. Likewise, with the XM1, a lot of people think, ooh, this is the Abrams predecessor, I'm just gonna go Dukes of Hazzard and just race out into the enemy fire, and then get one shot. Yeah, just, there are two ways to just completely one-shot an Abrams. You either aim at its right side, where you can snipe the crew, or you could aim for its left side and just ignite its ammo. I mean, yeah, you could do the same with the Leopard 2A4, but unlike the Leopard 2A4, you have a minimum amount of shells you can take. Because previously, people were loading, I think, only 20 shells into the tank, where they would be stored only in the blowout panel rack, and people would shoot them, and the ammo rack would go off, but they'd survive. And I guess the developers were like, well, we can't have that. But I don't know. I'm kind of like iffy about that, because if you ignite an M1's or XM1's ammo in its blowout rack, it destroys all the ammo, meaning he cannot shoot. On top of that, there's no guarantee he'd be able to put that fire out. And if he's a student player, he's not going to know, oh, I need to turn the turret 90 degrees so that it doesn't catch my engine on fire. On fire. And, oh, I'm sorry, I was wrong about the XM1's crew layout. I got it completely backwards. The ammo is on the right, and the driver's on the left? That's like Russian style, almost. Certainly not what it's like on the Leopards. Leopard 1 and Leopard 2. But likewise, the XM1 is incredibly easy to kill. I mean, I enjoy playing against it because while he cannot pen me from the front, he can pen me easy from the side. Because the hull, I later found out it's not 76 millimeters like I thought in my last video, well, second to last video with the Leopard 2A4, my first video on the Leopard 2A4, excuse me. It's actually, oh my goodness, 35 millimeters. Like, there was one time I was playing on Rhine, it wasn't in the video, but, oh my goodness, this Shilka, this is one of the few things that well, when I say few things, I mean things that cannot necessarily be fixed that happen in War Thunder. I had a heat shell ready because I could hull break that thing. I take a shot at it, and it says non-penetration. Ay, ay, ay. Don't ask me why that happens. I did not know what to think when that happened. I mean, I was like, no, my shell disappeared, or whatever you want to call it. And he ended up killing all of my crew with his 23 mils. I'm like, because I understand the Cold War doctrine of design tank building, put a lot of protection on the front and minimal for the sides and rear, but why couldn't they have put at least 50 or 76 millimeters of armor on the side, or make it effective thickness like that? Because even a silly anti-air, a Shilky, as I like to call it, was able to get me. But yeah. Leopard 2A4 can be defeated by an XM1. He just has to flank or aim at the right spots, like the lower plate, where he could get my driver or my ammo. Another thing I'd like to mention that I actually forgot to mention in the outset was that Xbox players rejoice, kind of. War Thunder has been released as early access for Xbox One. But hold up, hold your horses, Timmy. There's a catch. You have to pay to get early access. You could wait until it's released as free-to-play or buy early access. I don't know what the cheapest pack is, but my fellow Discord moderator and game master for War Thunder, Collusion, showed me a link to this website, or I forget the name of the website, but it was an Australian website, and I think it also New Zealand customers too, where you could buy early access to the Xbox. Now, I don't know if it comes with the Xbox or if it's separate. Or no, it would have to be separate. I'm sorry, I got confused. But basically, to get that War Thunder pack, which I don't remember all of what it came with, but it came with the XM1 Chrysler, a destroyer pack, a Corsair, an M5 Stuart, and more for 140 Australian dollars. Yeah, that's a lot of money. Even for a video game, that's a lot of money. I just honestly find it interesting how a game like War Thunder can sell a vehicle, just one, for the price of a full video game like FIFA or maybe Forza or Gran Turismo or other types of AAA games every time they release a new vehicle pack. Now, I've bought a lot of vehicle packs. I'm all for it, especially if it's something you really want and that's or let me rephrase that, that's useful. But at the same time, you got to use discretion, do your research. Like I've mentioned for pre-orders, at least I think I've mentioned pre-orders in the past, take them with a grain of salt. Like, if you really want something, just get it. Because when I saw videos for the AMX 13 SS11, I was like, yeah, I want that. So I bought it. And I liked it, despite reviews saying, oh, it's gonna be bad, don't buy it, get a refund. No pun intended. But, yeah. And I guess my prediction was right. War Thunder ended up sending Fly Daily his own Xbox One. Congratulations, Fly. That was really cool. Despite that one hater that was like, you get an Xbox because of your fancy computer and your YouTube channel. I hate your success. You gotta feel bad for some people. They just don't know how to behave. And that was censored, of course. He said a lot worse. But there's one thing about the Xbox version of War Thunder I am a little concerned about. For one thing, they have specifically said they are disabling, hopefully just for the time being, custom battles and simulator battles for Xbox version of War Thunder. Now, the explanation behind that is that, now, I have to admit, I had this backwards for a while. I thought Xbox was all like, ew, we don't like cross-platform play with PS4 and the like. But it was really Sony that doesn't like cross-platform play. So, and they have to take it out on Xbox. Oh my goodness. So if you're an Xbox player, you can't play custom battles because that would mean playing with PS4 players. But honestly, why can't they make it to where if someone creates a custom battle, they could just choose, do you want to invite Xbox players or PS4 players? You could just choose one or the other, not both. Because on the Xbox version, and this was confirmed by Fly, you can set it to where you can play only with Xbox players or play with PC, Mac, and Linux players. I don't know. But I think disabling custom battles isn't really the best idea because then they can't enjoy the fun of playing custom maps with friends or whatever. So hopefully that will change in the near future. Well, that is all the time I have for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your interest in this small channel despite my little delays. I will have some other videos released soon after this, so please stay tuned for that. Have a great day, and until next time, peace out.